that it is time we think about making cuts in our defense spending. And I hope Pakatan Rakyat would think very carefully about this before the next elections. The present and the preceding years, our defense spending has been in the vicinity of between 2 to 4% of GDP. And that is certainly too high, considering our state of development and the economy as it is. Many countries in the world, you'll be surprised, many countries including Philippines, including Vietnam, including Ireland, countries like this, the GDP, the arms spending is merely 1% or less than 1% of GDP. And you can think of, I've already mentioned, how much we can do with that money. Okay. I would like also to talk about how, I'm sure there are many parents here today, there are many teachers here today. It really saddens me how every year we have at least 2 defense fairs. One in KL and one in Langkawi. And every time we have a defense fair, you see the newspapers coming out with pictures about school children, little kids, fondling a rifle, the newest machine gun, sitting in the cockpit of a fighter jet, sitting on an armored combat vehicle. Is this what we want to teach our children? A culture of militarism? Or do we want to teach them a culture of peace? The culture of militarism only serves the purpose of the ruling elite in this country, of every country. You'll be very surprised, although it's not a surprise to me, how the Prime Minister a few months ago went to open a Silat Association gathering and said that Silat was the 3rd line of defense in this country. And is this a surprise that on the eve of the Bersih rally, the Silat associations came out, the army came out to do a drill in, was it UM? Somewhere. I saw it in the newspapers. The army came out on a drill and they had a banner saying, if you do not disperse or something, you could be shot. Okay? This is what the defense industry is all about. We have a rapid deployment force to ferry our armed forces to any part of Malaysia, and I think especially Sabah and Sarawak, in case any of them are contemplating secession. This is what the armed forces are for. We know that perhaps, I know from my ISA detention that the police really like to do things their own way. They don't like to have the help of the armed forces, but sometimes they don't have a choice. And then we have, if you look at the statistics on our armed forces, our army, the standing army isn't very big, something like 100,000. But the RELA has jumped from 500,000 within 2 years to 2.5 million. And there are many, I can only think of many reasons for this. Okay, they are hoping, first of all, that if you're part of the armed forces, you're part of the army, you are more likely to be pro-Barisan than Pakatan Rakyat or the opposition. But that is only if the postal votes are a captive postal votes. And that is why Bersih is asking for postal voting to be made more transparent. Is asking for postal vote to be only limited to people who are living overseas or on duty somewhere. And also to allow people, students and expatriates, Malaysians in overseas to be able to vote through postal voting. So in such a case, maybe it is not completely true that if you're in the army, you're more likely to be pro-Barisan Nasional. But if you give rela incentives, like say, we give you 80 ringgit if you can catch an illegal immigrant in this country. You know, there's a certain amount of loyalty, pro-government kind of sentiments there. Anyway, the spin doctors who are advising the Prime Minister today, I'm sure, has been thinking of many ways to ensure that the Barisan Nasional get its vote. And like I said in my book, among the other reasons for the domestic military-industrial complex growing up in Pekan is because the Prime Minister almost lost the Pekan seat 2 general elections ago and only won by a few hundred votes by the skin of his teeth. Today, the entire military automotive industry is in Pekan. I'm not joking, it is. So you have a captive, you have given employment to so many people there, and that is why we have to think about how such production can be diverted into more productive investments, into more socially useful production. Okay, so today I think I won't take up too much of your time. I've spoken enough. But I'd like to thank you, and I hope you will help us in raising this legal fund. We're very happy to tell you that in Penang we raised 60,000 ringgit. Give the Penang. And last night in Kuala Lumpur we raised 20,000. Trying to frighten you in case you thought there's too little in Ipoh we might. So we're hoping tonight Ipoh would beat Kuala Lumpur and show that Ipoh people are more generous than either Kuala Lumpur people or Penang, and you can break the 200 million record in Kuala Lumpur. 200,000, sorry. I've seen too many figures. They don't make much sense anymore when you read the figures of arms spending. So I thank you very much for coming to listen to us today, and I hope you will watch the case develop in France, and we hope that there will be justice for Untold and accountability for Malaysian and French taxpayers. Thank you very much.